Yeah, I think last game was a lot about which bruiser could outlast the other one, whether Abaddon could stand a little bit more on the front lines compared to the Bristleback. And eventually, I think the Troll and the Klings just got too strong because they didn't have a secondary damage dealer on Mineski's side, because once the Bristleback went down, they had to rely entirely on the Shadow Fiend. So that was kind of the story of that game, I think.
Well, immediately Abaddon pick here by Mineski. They also do take out the Treant, so a lot of respect to the Faceless draft from Mushi. Meanwhile,
Yeah,
I do want to
yeah,
point out
these are
that
just
there is
some
a
more.
clockwork band. Sorry.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going towards. Was the Clockwork Man? Is Clockwork's actually played. I'm not sure how he's played in SEA, but a lot of times you play him in like the 4 position where you get the boots early and you're just annoying. Is that how he's kind of played?
Yeah, Adam actually like took over the game the other day when he played Clockwork. Was combined with the Mushi Shadow Fiend, so Shadow Fiend got souls from the
Oh
Clockwork
man,
Hogs, and then he just like single-handedly took over the game by winning two out of 3 lanes in like 4 minutes. So Adam is amazing on the hero.
yeah, that's he's a very annoying hero. He has like extremely high starting base move speed. I think it's like 310 or 315, and you get boots on top of that, and you can just bully just about anyone. So it looks like Faceless going for a pretty standard Crystal Maiden opening here. And we'll see if they are able to pick up a frontliner for themselves here, or if they're just going to go for a dual support. We did see them pick up a very early Terrorblade pick one of the earlier games against Clutch, but I don't think we'll be seeing a core pick that early this time around.
Right. Actually, going back to the Clockwork, I'm glad you brought up the movement speed because Adam in that game went for Tranquil Boots and then a Windlace on top of that. So when his Tranquil was broken, he had 400 movement speed. When it wasn't broken, he was just like he was moving fast. Let's just put it that way. All right, we got a Kunkka after the CM.
10 seconds to go.
So no surprise here, I guess.
Yeah, I'd like to see the Kunkka. The games that I've seen him so far, he hasn't been too successful. He's always a fun hero to watch. He's got some pretty interesting combinations that he can do with other heroes. And he leaves the draft pretty open. So we'll see. Open in terms of like what you can combo with him. Of course, he's going to be played as support. And it looks like we have Mineski picking up an Earth Spirit here.
I find the role of Earth Spirit and Kunkka to be fairly similar. Obviously, Kunkka to me much better when it comes to the actual team fight, and also somewhat better when it comes to the initiation. But Earth Spirit could just be so mobile in the lanes, and he could actually, I don't want to say win the game, but at least win lane very hard. And I always wonder what happened to this hero. Like, at least in the past 2-3 weeks, he hasn't really been picked in the C or Chinese scene.
Yeah, that's something I was going to mention. I think Earth Spirit is mostly delegated to those specialists. Sometimes we'll see like Jerax in the Western scene pick him up every now and then, but a lot of other teams kind of tend to stray away from the hero because he has been nerfed quite a bit. That slow is not as potent as it used to be a couple patches ago. So we'll see how well they're able to work out with Spirit. And I think you brought a really good point forward, is that I think he's a lane winner. That's a really good way of putting it, is that he can kind of just pressure out one lane constantly, make the mid lane kind of a nuisance. Whereas I think Kunkka has a little bit of a harder time, but as you said, he's also a little bit better at that team fighting.
I mean, XY is definitely considered as an Earth Spirit specialist. Used to actually get respected banned a lot, but as of late, Faceless hasn't even been running it, even when it's not banned out. So they've been more on the Kunkka train instead.
5 seconds.
Yeah, I think the reason for Earth Spirit is that he can follow up on the Abaddon, I guess. Abaddon sometimes a little bit far ahead of his team, and he needs, sometimes takes a couple seconds to catch up to him, whereas Earth Spirit can just put down that boulder and immediately join Abaddon on the front lines. At least you don't want to be doing that late in the game, but the first 5-6 minutes, it's definitely something handy to have.
All right, we got a lot of respect bans being taken out. Shadow Fiend and Timbersaw. Speaking of Monkey King,
yeah, I'm surprised he's
where's this guy? I thought he's OP or something.
Monkey King, you want to know a stat from the Kiev major that I actually looked up? So I was talking with some of my friends, and everyone was saying Monkey King's like really good. So I was like, no, dude, Monkey King's only good for the teams that know how to run him. I actually looked up the stats, and he had like a 30% win rate after the group stages, I think, and he was like the most or the second most pick banned. So the thing is, the teams that know how to run him, they run him really well. But when everyone's picking him, he's not that good. And he's one of those heroes that is, I think he has that other problem where he's really good early on, he's able to bully. Then he has this period where he does like very little, and then he gets really good once he gets that basher. So
Right.
he's got some peaks and valleys there.
He also has a lot of counters. Pretty much any vision based hero or any hero that can get vision over trees is gonna be extremely good against him.
Reserve time.
Yeah.
But all right, Faceless is gonna answer back that Abaddon with the Bristleback. We've seen this matchup. Maybe Faceless will force a 1v1 matchup and then make Mag cry. Is that the?
I don't know, this is a role reversal again. So I think Faceless has played Bristleback twice and the Abaddon once. So he's played it quite a bit today. Of course, in this matchup, this is going to be his first Bristleback, but he played it a little bit earlier against Clutch Gamers.
Right.
So
Reserve time.
able to get that Abaddon Bristleback again, that's going to be extremely favorable for the Bristleback once again. Abaddon, of course, not able to dispel the quills with the aphotic shield, so that's what makes the matchup really hard. We'll see if Mineski actually wants to dodge the matchup, and they pick up a Dazzle here.
Okay. I think they've seen the draft from Faces earlier where it was Bristle, Dazzle, and Terrorblade together, and it was really, really tough to break. I mean, the OD did do it, but Mel did also play like a G in that game. So
Yes, he did.
they will deny the Dazzle, and Ninja Boogie is a great Dazzle player. So a lot of good kind of defensive capability. My question is, can you put Black on Bristle and pick up an Axe? Because I feel like Axe is quite good here.
Yeah, Axe is good. Then you're gonna need a really strong independent woman hero, and Terrorblade is banned. So, I mean, you need an independent core, all jokes aside. So it's going to be a little bit difficult if you go for Axe, because you won't have anyone that does, Bristleback's okay at taking objectives. He's decent at taking Roshan, and he's like meh at taking towers. So if you have someone that you can kind of follow up with those heroes, then I think it's good. But it's going to be hard to find that, specific person that can do all that.
I think just with the Kunkka and Axe alone, you already have some strong gank and teamfight initiation power. But
yeah,
I'm gonna go with the Troll instead.
Dyer's pick.
Yeah, the thing I was getting at was not so much about the initiation and things like that. It was more of a objective gaming. Like once you actually say you're on like even footing, it's going to be, you need a hero that can actually take towers. Say you're kind of pushing with your team. So that's kind of what I was going at. Troll is pretty good, so they can always circle back and go for an Axe, but that kind of does put them in a little bit of a predicament. Axe is pretty decent against OD as well, because if you pop Blade Mill and he's hitting himself with those arcane orbs, he's just gonna pop.
Well, it also depends, right? Because if you get anybody except the OD, the Astro is gonna make you look pretty silly. So I think seeing the OD pick, I don't think you want the Axe anymore.
Dyer's ban.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a two-way street for sure. I think he does really well against Abaddon if you want to go for that matchup. He does obviously well against Dazzle, but it's a pretty good point to make. It depends how you play the game. It requires a very good execution, and you typically don't want to be drafting for like perfect execution. Not a very safe way to draft.
Right. Mineski has one Phantom ban. Most likely this is gonna be a safe lane Troll and off lane Bristle, so a mid hero will be a safe ban. Against OD in particular, I think Tinker in the past, Sniper in the past has been more go-to ban, but neither of those heroes are exactly meta staple. So
yeah, I think Lina is one of the more standard heroes that we see these days against OD. She has really good range. She's got the wave clear. They're gonna go for a Nyx ban here. So they're thinking this is a safe lane Bristle and a mid Troll,
or vice versa. Because I feel like both heroes could.
Yeah, it could go both ways. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I know Nyx is good against OD, but I don't think Nyx was really good pick here at all.
Yeah, I don't think they would have picked the Nyx, to be quite frank.
Is this Mushi using a ban to protect himself?
Maybe Medusa incoming? Question mark.
For who? For Mineski?
For yeah.
Why Medusa?
Because they banned out the Nyx. Why else would you ban out Nyx?
I mean, can Black just pick Anti-Mage and low on your Medusa? If you pick Medusa
he can. But Medusa's still pretty good, I think. They're going to go for Luna.
Okay.
Radiant's pick.
Because they don't have too many great ways of locking down the Medusa and just like wailing on her. Because typically when you go for an anti-mage like that, you need, I think, some way to lock him down. We know anti-mage does get the Abyssal much later on, but it was just a thought I was throwing out. But Luna's a pretty good pick overall, I think.
It's
Not
a good
actually seen that much.
Yeah, it's an okay pick, but it doesn't feel like it's doing anything particularly great, right? It has some team fight, which in combination with Eclipse and Magnetize, Mineski's now got quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward considering that they have a Dazzle draft and they doesn't really synergize particularly well with any heroes. It's just more of a safe, hero.
Oh,
And yeah, you're right on the Tinker pick. So it's a Bristleback off lane with Troll playing safe lane. Well, we don't know if it's an off lane, but it's going to be a position 3 Bristleback here.
all right. I think Bristleback's gonna really do fine against Luna. Luna not exactly the greatest attack range, and honestly, Dazzle plus Luna, there's a lot of good harassment damage. But I think for Bristleback, harassing him is not enough. I feel like you really need to force out kills.
Yeah, I think the other big thing to mention about Bristleback is Earth Spirit doesn't do too much to him. Like, even if you roll onto him, you're not going to be dishing out too much damage.
Right.
So this is going to be a pretty easy lane if they do want to just throw him into the off lane here against the safe lane of Mineski. He should be fine.
I
and
wonder.
the mid lane should be.
10 seconds.
I wonder
Yeah, I
if
was going to
Faceless
say mid lane is
should.
just kind of a wash. What were you going to say?
I wonder if Faceless should force a 1v1 by going offensive with Black.
Because here's the strength of going aggro, especially against a hero like Earth Spirit, or if you're playing against Monkey King. These heroes like to roam a lot. You force that roamer to kind of stay
Right.
in the lane, and Earth Spirit does not want to stay in like a tri-lane situation. He doesn't work too well. So you do have that, and of course Bristleback is fantastic against Abaddon here. So we'll see how they lane this.
Alright, let's get into it. Is there a team's draft that you favor here?
I think Faceless has a much more nice, well-rounded out draft. I think Mineski's is a little bit all over the place.
The role might have seen Adam place the board, but ISSI sees, sorry, not sees that there is no wards being placed on the way out. Adam will back it up as well. Seems like this ward spot has been being very popular, where you walk up here and you ward in the low ground.
Yeah, I've seen that quite a bit. So. And it looks like they are...
Mushi walks mid, drops the most obvious ward spot, but then the smoke ran out, so now they know easiest D ward. Yeah, they already gave Jabs the sentry. Not like this.
Yeah, he's... Nuts has a sentry on himself too, but he's holding on to it right now.
30 seconds to showtime.
Not too sure why.
Wait, what do you mean? They don't know where the other sentry is. They know they know where one of the ops is.
Yeah. I'm wondering why he's not dewarding mid right now, because they know he
no, he
warded
gave
mid
it
for
to
sure.
Jabs. Jabs has the sentry. Jabs is gonna take that 100 gold.
Oh, he's gonna take it after. Okay, I see.
No point in dewarded now. You can even use it for regen.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
The game is on. High hopes for this one.
And Luna has a very interesting opening item build here.
Yeah, going for the
Looks
magic
like she's
wand.
gonna be going for the wand into the Aquila, but
I mean, it makes a lot of
really.
sense, right? You're up against a bristleback.
yeah, and you typically see the circlet into like 2 iron branches, and then you pick up the wand. But I haven't seen the extra circlet pick up after. I usually see the salve. It's a little bit safer, but it looks like she's gonna have the dazzle healing her and stuff. So
Right.
maybe not as strange as it may seem.
Mid lane, I think Jabs is going to win this lane actually quite easily. It is going to be a wash, but he's going to be pressured pretty hard. Mushi is, by the lasers.
Yeah, I think so. They're gonna have to dedicate the Earth Spirit a little bit more. They're trying to pressure Ice up here, but once again, Earth Spirit not particularly good at zoning out Bristleback. He's a little bit too durable.
Yep.
So ISS is going to be soaking up EXP here. I think he has to make some rotations to help Mushi out a little bit.
Orb of Venom
we'll
slow
see.
being applied. They could roll on him if they want, but I think without access into Beam, a level 2, it just will take too much to get the kill. But ISS is out on the mana. This is really the way that he played the lane earlier when he was up against the Abaddon. Just went up to the face, pretty much expended his mana pool, and then kind of reserved the shrine for later on.
Yeah, I think he might actually be using it now. I'm not too sure. Maybe he's just going to wait here at the bounty rune or something. Meanwhile, bottom lane looks like Abaddon's just kind of running around. He does have the poor man shield, already choo-choo through of his tangos here. And once again, we've kind of said this time and time again, Troll's particularly good against Abaddon once he gets that base boot up and running. But until then, Abaddon should have a pretty decent time. And this time he's not getting tri-lane, so it's going to be a little bit harder. He's already sitting at level 3, so fantastic for Abaddon.
Yep. Mid lane, they were trying to set up a kill here on Jabs with the Astro and the Rowan. Unfortunately, Jabs was able to pressure down Mushi so much that kind of just have to Astro and run. Maybe we're going to see it one more time, or we're going to see the Rowan. Nope. Their Spirit is just running away.
Yeah, Tinker's actually gotten that early boots of speed that we're seeing a lot more, which is a lot more common these days.
Right.
Definitely going to make it harder to land those spells or chase him down. So he's going to be going for a bottle afterwards.
But here comes the rotation from Faceless. Nova, or is it a blind Torrent that's going to be hitting? Torrent's going to fly up here. It will hit here on Mushi, and Mushi will get frostbitten up as well. Astro going on the Crystal Maiden, but can he actually walk it off? The X marks the spot. They will pull him back, and who's going to get the last hit? Crystal Maiden will pick it up here for the team.
Yeah, I think they were trying their best to give it to Jabs and realize that they should probably just take the kill rather than getting too greedy with it. Yeah, so they're just going to Shrine up here, and that's going to be pretty good AoE gold, everyone, and Crystal Maiden's going to be able to upgrade the Courier while on her way to her Tranquil Boots. But meanwhile, Abaddon sitting at almost level 4 here, just keeping up with Black.
I mean, I think that's okay for Faceless, because once Black picks up the Face Boot, he can solo Zone Mag. This is a matchup we've seen, I think, once earlier today already. So,
yeah,
I like this persistent
be...
ganks on the mid lane.
Yeah, they have one of two things that they can do. They can either try to zone out the Abaddon or make life a little bit easier for the Tinker. And I think, getting Tinker a little bit ahead, see here, are they going to kill him? Yeah, they're not going to kill him, but, they're just applying a little bit of pressure, making sure that Jabs is having a good time here. I think it's going to be a little bit harder this time around for Black to actually pressure Abaddon, because he does have sufficient levels this time, but he's doing a pretty decent job. It's still going to be hard either way.
You say that, Mag is just...
yeah, it's still going to be hard for Ab. Mag is going to have a tough time.
And I feel like likewise, this is not going to be true on the other half of the map, right? I feel like Luna really needs the help of the other supports, Dazzle in particular, to stay there. And it's not like that Dazzle is the best roamer either. He is going to rotate mid to drop a couple of wards here, but I feel like relatively the Tinker is going to feel really safe.
Yeah. I'd just like you to take a look at Dazzle's inventory right now.
Okay.
This is the life of the support. Yeah.
True support.
Position 7 support right there. Looks like ISS is pressuring the Raging Potato, the Luna player down here, but he's going to be completely fine. He's going to back up.
I mean...
But yeah, that's what you're saying. It's not too much that the Abaddon can do to the Troll Warlord, but it's not the same the other way around. Bristleback can definitely pressure Luna and force the supports to kind of stick around.
In fact, might be in a little bit of trouble here. Now he jukes around the tree lines. Black will give up the chase. Top lane, they bring him down pretty low. Nice row-in coming through. The spikes are doing some damage, but Ninja Boogie will pick up the kill with the poison. Not a poison rank up, just a level 1 poison. And of course, Raging Potato giving his team a lot of aura to output the damage.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised. Even if Bristleback does go for a Vanguard, sometimes you'll see the Torment Shield opening coming out, and so he's opted to forego that, which is pretty interesting considering Luna has the Lunar Blessing, and it makes supports deal pretty decent amount of damage. So picking up that Torment Shield could definitely be helpful, but looks like he's gonna be skipping it for now.
Faceless, another smoke. They've been kind of going through these quite rapidly, trying to set up gank. They know that Luna is relatively low HP. Even with the Grave coming through, they have so much slow and disable that they probably kill him through the Grave. So
yeah, he actually doesn't have Grave leveled up, but they don't know about it. Yeah, but I think you're completely right. Even if he did have the Grave, I think they would still be able to chase him down.
Crystal Maiden comes around. Kind of an awkward angle to tower dive. Smoke ends, and I don't know if Ninja Boogie had vision. I want to say no. In fact, the X is going to start things off. Torrent's going to be there. Eyesight or Nuts. Nova's through the tree, but yeah, no creep support. And Raging Potato will be fine here.
Yep. And other thing to note is that this time around, the Bristleback actually has the aura from Crystal Maiden, so he's going to have a much better time than most of the other games that he's picked up. So he's going to have a great time. Tinker's going to have a really easy time. So this is one of those things where Crystal Maiden, she's typically you'll see her just kind of, you know, ducked away in the jungle, but she's already at level 4, you know, applying a lot of pressure around the map, and she's got decent levels. So we're very well played by Nuts so far.
Yep. I mean, one thing we did mention during the draft was that Earth Spirit was supposed to be the lane winner. Do you feel like he's won any single lane yet?
No, I think he's done a decent job of helping the Luna out. I thought ISOS would have a little bit more of a better time, but he's made those. The thing is, the few times he has rotated, it's been good. Meanwhile, Mushi at mid is getting pressured up a little bit. He's gonna be fine. But yeah, getting back to the Earth Spirit, I think he's done a decent job. You know, the few times he has been able to pressure ISOS, they've either gotten a kill or kind of pushed him out of lane, forced a very early shrine. But it's not been, you know, as impactful as you'd like it to be.
Yeah, it's not a pick where you're like, okay, well, I'm glad we have the Earth Spirit on our team. And top Ice. It feels like he's just really settled in at this point. Has the warpath ready, so if Dazzle ever is out of position now, he could just force a kill. He's well on his way to at least pick up that Ring of Health. Once you have that Ring of Health, you really, you know, it's gonna be really hard to remove from the lane.
He has the raindrop to prevent Luna from, you know, Lucent spamming him down. She does have the Ring of Aquila, so she's going to be able to kind of nuke him down. He's got that raindrop just to prevent that. So he's going to be, yeah, as you mentioned, once he gets that Ring of Health, it becomes much harder to push him out of the lane. And I think he's going to be having a pretty good game here. No one's stacking the Ancients for him, though, but he does have a massive stack there in his offlane camp.
Okay, Mushi. Laning away. Checking on Japs' BOT timing. Halfway there. Well done on him. He's gonna finish it in like 10 minutes. 10-minute BOT is a really, really good timing.
Yeah, it's decent now. Because I think people forget that the creep gold has been nerfed through the several patches. Like, you get less and less gold from the creep wave, so... Before, I think like 8-minute 30 was considered really good, but I'd say around 10-minute mark is pretty decent nowadays.
Exa marks the spot here. We'll take up the kill, and looks like Ice will proceed to tick out the spawn as well. I mean, the one thing that the Earth Spirit has been doing extremely well, he's been pretty active at taking these runes, especially from the opposite side of the map, but in the ultimate grand scheme of things, I'm not sure if that's as important as, like, let's say getting a Tinker kill.
Yeah, I think the Kunkka and the Crystal Maiden have been doing a lot more work than the Earth Spirit for sure. This is why I'm saying the Dazzle pick was a little bit awkward. They're kind of finagling for a little bit of position around mid, but I don't think too much is happening. They are going for a smoke gank down here, though.
Yeah, Luna smoke gank. I mean, this should be a very big sign. Like, Luna is not top anymore. Dazzle is soaking the experience in lane. Yes, Luna can be jungling right now, so that is a thing that Kunkka is looking to drop a ward or something.
He was just running around town. I don't know what he was doing there.
Not too sure either. The torn will fly out.
I actually think he was trying to tank the smoke gank. I think that's what he's trying to do.
Okay, they expect the smoke up. He wants to break the smoke.
Because the way Black was playing, he was hiding behind the tier 1 tower, and he's just like, dude, go kill yourself, or at least find them.
Go kill yourself. Give new meaning to that phrase.
He's like, at the very least, they'll scout them out for me.
I mean, he did tank the gank, so mission accomplished, I guess.
Feels bad, man. It looks like they are pushing top a little bit. They forced out the Abaddon rotation. Meanwhile, you know, Luna's gonna be farming up bottom. I think she can easily transition a little bit into the jungle here if she feels like you know, anything's gonna be happening. Looks like Crystal Maiden is gonna head down here with the Kunkka. They're gonna apply a little bit of pressure, but I don't think they can kill her. Maybe just push her off the tower.
Well, they will.
With Bristleback coming in.
Yeah, and the thing about X marks the spot is such a long disable. He's threatening to drop his ultimate, but there's no way he's gonna get anything done. Did get the value raindrop charge off, you know?
Definitely true. Yeah, I think Luna was playing a little bit like she had backup, but you know, Faceless was having none of that. They'd rather, you know, I think they were completely fine even if Luna did have backup. You know, they saw a couple of heroes top, they know the Abaddon's top, so even if Dazzle's there to grave her, as you said, they have sufficient slows and lockdown.
Yeah, they almost need OD and Dazzle, like, just to extend the fight long enough. Maybe have an ult fly out from the Luna, but
Yeah, that's the kind of plays where you kind of tell your Abaddon, like, go in the jungle or something if you're going to push bottom with Luna, because if Abaddon is showing himself, it's way too easy to go for that pick off.
Guess what's happening to Dire's bottom tower? Radiant's top tower is hurting.
So meanwhile, it looks like Ice has finished up his Vanguard. He's going to be pressuring bottom down here. Luna just going to secure a little bit of farm. Tier 1 tower is already sitting at about a quarter of its life. Meanwhile, top's being defended by Tinker.
Oh god, I just realized. This is a Tinker Kunka game, isn't it?
Yes it is.
Doesn't have the Astral Spirit, but some cancerous stuff could happen.
This could get pretty annoying. I already think it's going to be pretty hard for them to get and do a lot of tower damage. You know, once again, Luna, even when she does get the Hurricane Pike, she doesn't have the greatest attack range, so she's going to be sitting under the effects of a lot of March of Machines. She's going to have spells spammed on her, so it's going to be a pretty difficult game, I think, for Mineski here to close it out.
Yeah, Mineski is already falling pretty far behind, like 2,000 net worth in about 10 minutes of gameplay. Of course, Mushi is going to be going for the Hand of Midas, but still a little bit away from there. And I think for Faceless, they're pretty much online, right? You got the BOT on the Tinker, Trolls already ready to push down tier 1 towers. And for the supports, both of them has sit level 6, so they could be a big threat in these kind of fights. Adam does take yet another rune, but now we'll get, like I said, X-Torrented and Bolted on top. The silence is going to be there to slow things down, but Raging Potato will have to retreat. I'm surprised they didn't just pop the magic wand and just, Eclipse. But
yeah, I don't think it was going to get the kill even if they Eclipse. They had the Coco Rope running,
exactly.
So they would have been fine. Yeah, I think at this point what you do is, as a Luna, you just farm up your own jungle. Like, you just give up the towers. There's not too much that you can do. I think your supports are kind of low on the EXP department. Dazzle's sitting at level 5. Meanwhile, we have Crystal Maiden almost level 7, and Kunkka, he's got the level 6. That's really all he needs for this early portion of the game. But, they are giving out a little bit of space for the Dazzle up here.
Yeah.
So he's going to get some of his items. Something I want to harken back to that we saw from a couple of games ago is that we have the Luna for some of the physical damage, and then OD has pure magical. Of course, Luna has magical as well. So it's going to be hard to completely itemize against, one type of damage for Faceless. So they're going to have to work a little bit towards both of those. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see BKBs coming out early for the Troll and Bristleback if they choose to do so.
Smoke's going to be detected here by an Observer Ward. So, XY, your job is clear. Go break the smoke, and hopefully don't kill yourself this time. And now, they're in a very good defensive spot here. They even have vision across. X-Torn Bolt's gonna fly out. Luna picked up in the air. Aphotic Shield's gonna bring her back up. And now here comes the Eclipse. I think she is gonna get blown up. Magnetized being spread out, but I don't think they care. They will have X cooling down 1 second. X on Mag, and Mag is gonna be pulled back in 4 seconds. Torrent's gonna be following him up. He runs the other way, dodging the Torrent, very nicely done. Nuts gonna come through, does have a Frostbite available, but Nuts will actually kill himself. Mag making something happen. Ice with the question marks, almost taunting him. And looks like it will be a retreat. At the end of the day, they will get a Luna kill on top of, for a Crystal Maiden. Pretty good trade if you ask me.
Yeah, they just fought into that Coco Rum. Unfortunately, they weren't able to deny bottom tier 1 tower. But yeah, fighting under the effects of that Coco Rum from the Ghost Ship, definitely not what you want to do. They just kind of soaked up all that damage from the Luna Eclipse, and they got an extremely favorable trade from that. We also had Mushi kind of run down trying to help a little bit, but not too much you can do at that point. Mushi actually has 0 points in his ulti. I don't think I've seen ODs skip their ulti this far into the game.
I mean, honestly, apart from the rotation that he just made, like, he hasn't been looking to fight actively at all, right? So, I guess no point to pick your ult if you're not even going to join your fights.
I think the other good point is they don't really have any great ways of locking down a single target, so he can't build up those stacks with his Arcane Orb if he ever wants to kind of build up a little bit of damage. So, just going for a little bit more farm-oriented, and he's going to get a couple points now into that ult.
My biggest concern right now for Mineski is that we're reaching the mid-game where team fights are really going to start to crop up. The Mineski cores are too under-farmed. I mean, you talked about how they have magical and physical damage, nice spread, but they don't have any items to actually do damage. Both OD and Luna are extremely item-dependent, and they're very far behind compared to their opponent. And also, this is the stage of the game where I think the Crystal Maiden Kunkka combo is going to shine in team fights, whereas Dazzle and Earth Spirit, I'm not sure exactly how much they're gonna do, especially based on, you know, like Dazzle, for example, is worth as much as your core, and when you have really weak cores currently, he ain't worth Jack's spot.
Yeah, it's definitely true. The one thing that they do have going for them is that they had a triple stack on the Ancients here, so Luna's going to get a very sharp, you know, EXP climb, excuse me, gold climb there. She'll be working towards a Dragon Lance, but I think this is one of those games that you're just going to have to hunker down because there is a Tinker in the game. It's going to end up being pretty extended, and it looks like they're just going to smoke into Roshan here. And there's not too much that Mineski can do. They can try to threaten a little bit.
Well, the Weave is actually going to scout the fact that Roshan is happening, applying quite a bit of minus armor. Mag does not have his ultimate. He used it for farming that Ancient stack, so... I mean, they don't know that, but they're going to start hitting Mag a little bit. X, Torn, are they going to fly out the boat? No, the Astro's going to be there, and Roshan's dropping very low. They don't have any blink ability to actually steal it. Roshan is going to go down, and now Ice is already moving forward. Meanwhile, it looks like Magnetize not being casted just yet. Troll is just going to work. They X up Mag again. Mag again doesn't have ult. No, he will have it after he pops back out. Ult is going to fly out. He was under 400 HP. Heals are popping off, and that actually did absolutely nothing here for Mag. The bolt will fly through now. Where's the Astro? No Astro here for Mag. He will go down. Ice just tanking up in the front line. The roll is going to get blocked out. Adam drops Magnetize before he dies. Mushi drops his ult, but no, Mushi picked up in the air. He is going to go down. The Grave is going to delay things a little bit, but looks like Ninja Boogie will die. Mushi does take down the Aegis before dying. Jab dropping extremely low, but he's going to be fine. That was a 1 for 5.
That was excellently played by XY. He held on to that ghost ship for so long, and he used it when he knew that they've kind of, you know, hardballed their opponents where they have to kind of turn around and fight them. He could have, you know, just threw it over the Roshan pit to make sure that they can get it easily, but very patiently played by him. And of course, just excellent play from Nuts, getting into a really good position to get that freezing field off. Yeah, Black just going ham. Perfect use of the Aegis. They're gonna get a team wipe and essentially a free tier 2 here up top.
The fight kind of just migrated to next to the tier 2 tower up top, so they conveniently, you know, just took the tower. Now, normally when you lose a big team fight in this early game, you're like, okay, they just use all their big ults, let's just go back and try to take an objective, right? This is really common when you see like Warlocks and Tides in the game, but this game, it's like CMO and Kunkka ult, like they're back already, so there's just no counterplay from Mineski at all. They just have to go back and, like you said, hunker down, but I don't know. This is not looking good at all for Mineski.
Yeah, I think that's why Kunkka's pretty. I would say he's like underrated. I'm surprised he's not picked as often as he is because he's just able to constantly fight, and that's typically what you see a lot in Dota these days. Is that there's a lot of skirmishing. Sometimes there aren't a lot of kills, but you know people are always trying to fight here and there. Kunkka's perfect at doing that. He's got decent roam potential, and a little bit surprising that we don't see him more often.
You know, another very Kunkka-esque hero that we haven't been seeing at all after the new patches is Elder Titan. I feel like the two hero...
Yeah, I was going to mention it earlier.
Yeah, plays a very similar role. I think Kunkka is a little bit more explosive when it comes off a good initiation with the X marks the spot, but just lots of AoE to be thrown around.
Yeah, Elder Titan is another one of those heroes that's really good at kind of zoning the offlaner a little bit by himself. He just gets a lot of damage. Kind of jumping back to this game, you're exactly right about the Faceless' ability to kind of just constantly fight. It's not like they're typically reliant on any big spell. You know, they have Tinker who can always just pour it into a fight. They have Troll who's always ready to fight. And speaking of Troll, he's got that BKB, and yeah, it's going to be that much harder to kind of take him down.
Yep.
Meanwhile, bottom. That's 5 Mineski heroes in one area.
I mean, look, they gotta start protecting their real estate, so I get that. Mineski, Raging Potato, continuing his trend of ancient farming from last game, but his farm this game is nowhere near as good as last game, but he is still trying to make the catch up. It's gonna be a Hurricane Pike next for the Luna.
Yeah, something that I've seen some players go is Mask of Madness on Luna, and you just kind of farm you farm your jungle so fast. Like there's one game I got dumpstered completely, and that's just kind of what I defaulted to, and helps kind of get back in the game.
Kick's gonna fly out here on the Troll Warlord. Nice 2-man stun. The Silence gonna be on top as well. Ice in the middle of everything. This time around, Mushi really unable to actually get all those extra orb hits in against the Bristleback, predominantly because he doesn't have a Dragon Lance just yet.
Yeah, this tower is most likely going to go down. I don't think they have the tools to contest right now. They should probably just split up the map and farm. I think these are the ideal scenarios where you could have your Luna mid. Yeah, we have I'm not too sure why Earth Spirit's the one mid. It should probably be like Luna or Odie just farming it up.
Right. I think
their tower.
I think the example where you gave with the Mask of Madness Luna is great if there's no pressure. Like if they're not pushing a tower endlessly. Because right now, if Luna's... Well, I agree with you. I think he should be off farming. But as soon as he leave, I think these towers fall down even faster.
Yeah, they have one big problem is that they don't have any wave clear. They actually have like 0 wave clear.
Right. Well, the wave clear is Astro. That's their wave clear.
That's oh, we have the Grave coming out, and it looks like he's probably going to be going down. We have Ice here coming out with the goos. Oh, really nice Astro actually coming out, and it's like very aggressive. Oh, Jabs didn't actually use the rocket there.
I don't think he had vision. It was just nighttime, right? On the back line, though, heroes are smoked up trying to do something. That was a smoked up Abaddon trying to gank you from behind. Alright, here comes the Bolt Eclipse. The first Eclipse lasted about half a second, and Mag's about to go down as well. My god, his HP dropped down fast. The X gonna keep him locked in place. The Martian Machine doing a ton of work as well. Ninja Boogie. Oh my god, did you see the damage?
Yeah.
Alright. This game is over.
They've got a Solar Crest on Ice, so you know, Dazzle's going to weave you, but it's going to take a couple of seconds for that to ramp up. So in the meantime, he's just going to goo you down, Solar Crest, and essentially just counteracts that against a single target.
So I recall a game where I think Miracle from former Mineski was playing, and he got pushed down so early, and he was playing OD. And in a situation like this where the team really lacked counter push, he got a Veil of Discord. So with a single Veil and an Astro, you actually kill a whole group wave. I'm not sure if that's something that Mushi could have gotten to change the situation, but it feels like they're so far behind that nothing really would actually matter.
Veil's not particularly bad this game either. It's like we're going to have a little bit of a skirmish here.
Adam making some play, the magnetizing quite a bit of damage, but everyone's so tanky, the bullet's going to fly out, the Grave's going to end, and he is going to go down. On the backline, Jabs just kills through the Shine. Jabs, it's going to pour out. No, the beam's going to cancel him. They will get a Jabs kill, I think. Jabs, maybe? Give him the kill. Alright, Jab's actually going to get the kill. Mushi ports back and looks like he will die pretty much instantaneously. No, the Shrine will keep him alive. Mag is in there. Mag does not have the ult. Mag's going to go down. Bristleback out of mana, but does not care. They will get themselves the lane the racks. They will get them buyback. And they will get home scot-free as well.
Yeah, Mushi's just so underfarmed. That ulti barely took like half of Kunkka's HP. So yeah, that's not a good sign. Speaking about the Veil of Discord, it's pretty decent this game actually when you think about it, because you know, Troll and Bristleback, they're a lot about armor reduction, so it's not entirely bad. You have a little bit of magic damage coming out from the Luna, but yeah, I'm not sure if Veil is going to be too great other than that. It's you know, it's a desperation item, I guess you'd say.
Good for Magnetize.
Yeah, there is some potential. It's not as bad. I don't think it's as bad as it sounds. It's definitely something that should be considered.
Alright, Tro gonna extend his item lead by getting a blink, and we're approaching rapidly at a 20k net worth lead. I think 12 minutes in, it was only like 3 to 4k. But
yeah,
with Tro Warlord games go, like, it could snowball extremely quickly. Alright, Raging Potato going for the kill, gets a solo one. Alright. That's 2 kills in a row now on Japs.
Yeah, that's a 800 gold swing there for Luna, and it's gonna help her pick up her next item, which is going to be a BKB. It looks like she's going for the casual Yasha. Pretty standard stuff. You go for the casual Yasha to help you move around, get a little bit of farm, and transition back into the BKB.
Alright. Ice, sticking on him, forcing out. Oh! Look at them goo.
Oh my, poor Dazzle.
Alright, well. I was late to the party half a second, and Dazzle said.
That was, Dazzle, I don't know what he was doing there. I think maybe he went to like ward or something. He didn't get the ward off, he just got destroyed. But yeah, this game is looking very much in Faceless' favor. It's not over by any means, but it's going to be very hard for Mineski. I think this is one of those times where you talk about, you know, people say Dota is a game of mistakes, and this is where you have to capitalize on the enemy's mistakes, but it's going to be very hard to catch out these kinds of heroes, because Faceless is mostly 5-manning at this point.
Yep.
Being very intelligent about that.
I mean, I think the hero you could catch is probably Tinker, but what the hell is your catch? I'm not exactly even sure how Jay was able to find the Tinker and kill him with Eclipse.
Yeah, I think he just found him farming in the jungle. I didn't see how that whole thing started out until the very end.
I mean, I guess Earth Spirit is your best catch, but he doesn't have a blink or anything like that to position a good kick, so I don't think catch is happening. And honestly, it's hard to make a mistake when your frontliner has Crimson Guard, Solar Crest, and a pipe, and he even has infused range drops, which looks like a joke item at this stage of the game, but I mean, Mineski already has no damage, so blocking a nuke is almost backbreaking to them.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. Going a little back to the catch is typically when you have a hero like Sand King or Legion Commander, you just park them like something that my friend who's like he'd always tell me is that if you're playing these heroes that can catch opponents, just sit in the tree line. Like you just sit there for like 2 minutes because there's nothing for you to do. So if you're playing against a hero like a Tinker, you just sit in the tree line and then you try to go for a catch, but Mineski doesn't have that. So that's a little unfortunate this time around.
That sounds like the Jimmy Ho school of Dota.
Yeah, definitely. It's actually from Austin. Austin was telling me, just sit in the trees if there's nothing for you to do. You have your Blink Dagger, you have your catch, but they don't have any way to get the Tinker this time around. And I think that was just kind of a fluke kill on the Luna. I don't think that'll be happening anytime soon.
Alright, Mineski, one last desperate smoke. BKB not completed on Luna. Despite of that, they want to take a fight. Roshan is being gunned down very quickly. And I think by the time they even get there, it'll be done. Roll coming through on the left side here by Adam. Silence, not going to pop out in time, and the Aegis is going to get taken. Time is written down, but Eclipse? Or where the Eclipse is going? I'm not sure.
He was trying to hit jabs with it.
Alright, Dazzle, the first one to be brought down. The bolt's going to fly through. Spells are being dropped, and the people that are hitting the floor is all Mineski. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they're just getting cleaned up here. That's basically game. I don't think there's too much that they can do at this point. They're just gonna run up. They can talk a little bit, I guess, about how the game went, but it's essentially over at this point.
I think how the game went was Mineski lost all 3 lanes.
Yeah, I think the Earth Spirit was... They picked it a little too early. I don't think the hero warrants being picked in the first phase anymore. He's not that strong, or if you are, you need to have a very good draft, kind of planned out. He does very little to Bristleback. The thing is, they did end up killing the Bristleback. They zoned him a little bit, but he spent, a lot of his time there, and he wasn't able to help the OD who was being pressured. So meanwhile, he's pressuring an offlane Bristleback. We have Kunkka and Crystal Maiden pressuring a mid lane OD. So that was the trade-off there. That's probably not a trade that you want to be making.
I think it's hard to make a hero like Earth Spirit work when every lane that you have loses without the Earth Spirit being there. Like Earth Spirit had to be the gap stopper, right? And if he's not there, bottom is losing. If he's not there, mid is losing. And right now, the whole team is losing. What a Torrent Bow combo, and that's gonna hit through all of Mineski. Mushi will go down very quickly. Mag has his ultimate. That will only preserve his life a little bit longer. Nice Hurricane Pike to push him back, but does not matter. They will gain on him. The GG is gonna get called. And that's all she wrote. Mineski will be eliminated from the Epicenter Moscow Land qualifier. And Faceless has earned themselves another opportunity to take on Clutch Gamer in the best of 3 grand finals.
Yeah, that was just immaculately played by Faceless. I think you ironed it out really well at the end there. If you need Earth Spirit to win every single one of your lanes, then I think you're going to have a pretty bad time. So I think Mineski drafting a little bit awkward there. I did say I liked Faceless's draft a little bit more. It seemed much easier to play, and that's one of the things you have to consider as well. Pretty easy draft to play. They played it to perfection, and looks like we'll be seeing them in the finals here.
Yep, that's going to do it for here. For now, we're going to take a break. The grand finals will start in 1 hour exactly. So we're going to have yet another 1 hour break because, these games are 2-0s. So, you could check out my co-caster at DC Restalker and myself at Luminous Inverse.